Good evening, everyone, and welcome to BNR. It's me, Gene and Aki tonight. Asim's too busy. He's got his own stuff going on, so you've got me and Aki. First and foremost, everyone, like and subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button, and if you haven't become a member, you can do so by becoming a BNR Ultra. But yeah, big up everyone. Big up the chat, and Aki, big up to you, man. How are you? How's things?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very good. Thank you, and thank you for having me on yet again. I appreciate you bringing me on, and it's great to see you guys bringing such great content on regularly for all the guys, including myself. So, yeah.
Big up. Nah, big up, especially everyone in the chat. The chat are the ones who support us. They're the ones who keep us going. We are trying to bring you a load of content. I'm sure we're giving you 2 shows a day at the minute. A lot of shows are in the pipeline, especially in the next month, where we will be making some breaking news regarding the channel and where we will be going forward. But already there's 83 of you in the house. Do smash the like button, and yeah, let's make a proper start. Aki, look, I think obviously since we last spoke, there's been quite a few reports, news coming out regarding Liverpool in terms of their transfer, what they're going to do, what they're not going to do. And I want to start off. I know the Liverpool Kudus and Lukeba is probably going to be the 2 that we're going to speak about. But I think what I wanted to speak about first was Luis Diaz and the news that Liverpool have rebuffed any approaches for Luis Diaz from Bayern Munich. Look, there's a couple of ways of looking at this. Is this Liverpool playing a game where they know Bayern Munich, the likes of Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and the rest of the teams in Europe, and probably not going to pay the fee, and they're waiting for that fee to come from Saudi, because obviously there's news that Al Nassr are going to make an approach for the player, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of fee that they come up with. So they're probably rebuffing their bids to see what will come back from Saudi, what sort of bid is going to come back from Saudi. But I don't know, the more I think about it, Aki, I'm more inclined now to think that Liverpool actually want to keep the player and they don't really want to sell him. What are your thoughts on the Luis Diaz saga, and where do you think Liverpool, where do you think Liverpool's stance is in regards to him?
I kind of agree with what mostly you've said. So clearly, they know the European clubs, as in Barca and Bayern, who have both approached them, are not willing to pay the fee, what we're looking for, which is around 70 to 80 million. They're probably looking around the 40, 50 million mark. So we know the only teams who are willing to pay that are the Saudi clubs. Now, the matter of the fact is Diaz willing to go to Saudi? I don't think he is. I think he wants Barca or Bayern. So, and we're financially set in a way where we can say to him, look, we're not going to up your contract. We're fine for you to go on a free. We've let the likes of Trent go on a free. Wijnaldum's gone on a free before. They have no problem doing that. So I feel like they do want to keep him, and I want to reinstate. I want to keep him as well, because I don't feel like there's anyone on the market who we can bring that upgrades us. And I know you might be, but personally, I know you're going to probably say Gordon. You might say Liao, but for me, they're not much of a big upgrade on him. The biggest upgrade on that left side, when we had Mane and then on the right side we had Salah, we won't have them type of wingers on both sides who are going to give us 20 goals a season. That we were spoiled, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we had MSN, but we had a very good version close towards that. And we're not
we were unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. And we're not going to get that again. So I'm happy to keep Diaz. I'm happy with his output. And I don't believe any player we bring in gives us an improved output on what he has.
Look, I'm going to be open and honest with you, okay? Or especially when I look at Diaz I tried to look at him over the last 3.5, 4 years that he's been at this football club, and at the start of last season, I wanted him out of the football club. I thought his numbers were shite, especially for a winger who we are expecting to bring in at least 15 Premier League goals. His numbers were not great. They weren't up there. Of course, look, people will caveat that with, he had an injury. And then obviously he had some personal issues with his dad and all that type of stuff that happened. But his numbers were never great in terms of goals and assists. And that was quite worrying from my perspective. Hence why at the start of last season, I wanted him gone. I'm really open. If people who watch the show, I was all in the Anthony Gordon train. I wanted him in. His numbers were great the season before, double figures for goals, double figures for assists, and it made complete sense, especially when we were linked to him. But I have to give Diaz a lot of credit. He's this season that's just gone. It's definitely been his best season. But his best season has come for Liverpool at the age of 28, with 2 years left on his contract. If a bid came in for £75 million, I would be. I don't want to sell him, but I think there's a price for him.
I agree with you. I agree with you in that sense, Gene. But for me, if this was before the January transfer window and Kvaratskhelia was available, then I'd be saying all for it. Let's go for it. I'm happy with that. You know, Kvaratskhelia is also a player who doesn't have the greatest output, but he brings you that X factor. And you know, output can't replace that. Certain players have an X factor, like even Eden Hazard's. They might not have the craziest of numbers, but what they bring and what the influence on the pitch, you can't replicate that with numbers. So I would have been more than happy if it was a Kvaratskhelia coming in. For me, a Liao, who's, you know, he's got a bit of X factor to him, but when he gets in front of the goal or when he gets in positions where he needs to make it matter, he's a bozo. And I know a lot of people.
His numbers are not bad, you know. I actually looked at Liao's numbers.
Great.
Serie A, man. The numbers were better than Diaz's.
Yeah, but it's the Serie A as well, Chin. You got a caveat with that. And, you know, Gordon, I seen your argument on Gordon a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, I agree with certain points. Look, his numbers against the big six, when you were arguing with Avi going, you know, tit for tat, his numbers against the big six are amazing. I'm not going to lie. That's good. But guess who else's numbers were great against the big six? Rashford. So I'm not going to take it thinking away, oh, wow, his numbers are great against the big six. You have to be consistent all year round. I don't care if you're just doing it well against the big six. But in the big moments, I want it all year round.
Look, that's fair. Look, I'm not gonna look. I get everyone's argument. I want ideally I want Diaz to stay, especially if we're bringing in a number 9, because it feels like there's just too many changes happening, especially with the side that's just won a title. You're thinking new change to the left back, a change to the right back, a new number 10 with Wirtz, probably another number 9 that's going to come in before the season starts. That's 4 already. And if you bring in a left winger, if Diaz goes, then just 5 changes. That's practically half your team that you're getting rid of. Well, changing, I mean, for a title-winning team. That is a lot.
Yeah,
if you compare it with any other team. So that's the only thing that sort of worries me. I'm not gonna lie.
And you know what? It's right to worry you as well, Gene, because I was reading somewhere that the last time a Premier League champion did more than 5 changes, I think it's 5 or more changes, they do not retain the title. So you don't want to change too much. You want to change just the right amount. The likes of Fergie needs to bring in 2, 3. They didn't bring in 5, 6. That's a big change. It's a big transition you're asking for. You know, like last year when Slot come in, we all thought that was going to be our transition phase. What if this season might be the transition phase, which I hope it isn't. And I'm hoping that we're going to go back to back. And I think we will go back to back.
Look, in terms of the actual team itself and the players that we've bought in, I think Slot will make every single one of these players better, and they would see a massive improvement. Even the players that he's bought in, that we've bought, you're talking world class. In Wirtz, you're talking an unbelievable left back, a really really good right back, and we're linked with Mark Gay as well. And then you've got, you know, we don't know if obviously we're going to happen with the number 9, but all these positions that I'm looking at, I'm actually seeing players that. There's an improvement in the 9. There's an improvement in the 10. There's an improvement on the left back. Maybe Frimpong on the right back. You know, Trent gave us a lot more creativity, slightly different players. But I get it. I would want Diaz to stay. If I'm honest, 2 years left on his contract. The news came out today that, you know what, he's not on the A60 or £55,000 that was being thrown around over the last couple of years. That they were his wages. It was more around the 140 mark. If Diaz is on around the 140 mark, which I don't know, I'm just going about the news that came out. And he probably does want his final contract once probably once around the 200k. If you look at the players that sort of deserve the 200k, you know, a forward at Liverpool, you know, if he's on one.
I find it hard to believe that he's on 140k because for ages we've been hearing he's on like 55 to 70k. Oh no, I think it was today saying what you said, 140. I was shocked. I was like, if this guy's on 140, what is he crying about for a new contract? Liverpool have every right to say no new contract for him because he's 28. I'm sure he's going to be 29 soon. You know, big wages. He's going to probably want a 4-year deal. So now imagine now in a year or two, like you said, it does decline rapidly, then you've got a player that might not want to leave because he's on a decent wage, and then you're struggling in that essence. You're like
Yeah.
United in a way where you've got players on big wages who don't want to go. They're comfortable. You don't want that.
Because the thing with Diaz is, look, if a bid of £75 million came in for Luis Diaz, I accept.
If that 75 million goes for Isak and we have to sign a project left winger and have Gakpo as our starting winger, I'm all for it. I'll tell you that now.
Yeah. No, look, I get that. So this is the argument now. If we get a £75 million for Luis Diaz, I accept that. I think that's a lot of money for a player who, over the last 3.5, 4 years, has given us one good season. Let's face it. I don't want to sugarcoat it.
Well, when he came in, remember that quadruple season, he was unbelievable for them 6 months.
He had a good 4 to 5 months that he was at Liverpool. Again, it's weird, but I don't think his numbers were great though in that 4 to 5
he was
months.
really influential because we had Mane.
He was.
Mane was playing number 9, getting the numbers, and obviously we had Salah chipping in as well.
Yeah, and so Cash goes, Diaz is our second best forward. No need to make wholesale changes. When you bring in, now we've got the likes of Verts. Then you bring in a number 9. He's not your second best forward, is he then? He becomes your fourth or third or fourth choice already. And there's an argument. The Gakpo fans in the chat will say, listen, Gakpo's numbers were better than Diaz's. Gakpo's made major improvements. I'm more of a Diaz fan over Gakpo, if I'm honest. But the Gakpo fans will come out and say that because he had an unbelievable season. If you look at his numbers, big games he scored.
I think your mic cut off, Gene.
Yeah. Yes, he wasn't the same when he came back from injury. But generally speaking, Cody Gakpo had an unbelievable season at Liverpool. That's the season that's just gone. And hence why, him and Diaz are being linked with the move to Bayern Munich, number one. And number two, there's no murmurings about him leaving the football club or anything like that, because we were calling, I'm not going to lie, I was calling for both of their heads at the start of last season because I just didn't think these players were good enough. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Luis Diaz. Okay, a question to the chat. Does, yes or no, guys, Luis Diaz, will he be at the football club on the 1st of September? Okay, I want your answer first. And then the guy can get involved as well.
Yes, he will, because I think he doesn't want to go Saudi. So even if that 75, 80 million comes, I don't think he'll go Saudi. I think he'll stay because he wants Barca or Bayern. His dream was Barca. His dad for years was talking about Barca. Even when he was playing for us, he was talking about Barca. So I can't see him going.
Right, Slot Effect says yes. Ali says no. Are the airports fully charged? Yes, they are. Boardroom, yes. Adnan, yes. Kashif says no. You know what? It's 50-50, Quite a few yeses, quite a few no's. More yes. Actually, there's a lot more yeses when I scroll down. Yeah. You're probably talking around, 65% are saying yes. And about 35% are saying no. But I think...
Gene, I've seen a comment before.
Right.
In regards when we were talking about Diaz and who we could get to replace him. What about Rodrigo? What do you think? I know he's played on the right side predominantly, and his numbers are another one. His numbers are not the greatest either. It's like 5 goals, 6 assists, or something like that. He's playing on the right. What happens when you move him to the left, where his preferred position is? And whenever I've seen him play on the left for Madrid, he looks a completely different player. He scored a fabulous goal against Atletico Madrid once playing off that left. I thought, who is this guy? And I thought, oh my God, it's Rodrigo. So I'd like to see what he could do at another club where he's more of the main guy, because at the moment now he's playing subpar to
second fiddle.
Vinicius. You know what I mean? He's not. They don't look at him as a Galactico compared to them. So I'd like to see what he could do. He didn't start again in the Club World Cup.
He didn't.
I've got a feeling he's off, and I think if he is off and we know we can get 75, 80 million for Diaz and we know we can actually ship him off, we should be saying to Arsenal, move aside, please. Rodrigo, here you come.
First and foremost, I'll answer Diaz because somebody asked, what's your thoughts on Diaz? Will he stay? I think he's off. I think Liverpool will sell him. I think Liverpool will get the money, and I think he will leave the football club before the first. Right. Rodrigo, there's certain players that need to leave a football club to take themselves to the next sort of level. When I see players that play, especially the players that played for Barcelona and Real, they always have a lot of good players, but there's some players that need to leave. And I look at Alexis Sanchez, who was at Barcelona, did decent, couldn't really do it. Came Arsenal, smashed it. You look at Ozil, although Ozil did really well at Real Madrid, he came to Arsenal. He was the main man. There's a
Odegaard,
few others,
Odegaard,
you
he
know,
went to Arsenal.
Odegaard,
Last
but he
season,
went pretty young. Another one is Arjen Robben. He was at Real Madrid, brilliant player, didn't really kick on. Went to Bayern Munich and arguably was one of the best players in the world for 3 or 4 years towards the end of his, especially towards the end, he was unplayable.
he was pivotal in his league win against Dortmund. He was phenomenal.
Exactly. He was that whole campaign. He was fantastic. So some players have to leave a football club, and I see Rodrigo in that sort of mold where I think if my cat's going on one, by the way.
I can eat it.
What's up? Okay.
Bring the cat. Ask him for his opinion.
Yeah. He's a nutcase. Yeah. And I look at Rodrigo. Schneider, Rumi mentioned, yep, he's another one. Yeah. Fabinho was there. Look, people, there's a lot of players that have gone, that left and actually took their game to another level. And I see Rodrigo in that sort of mold where I think if he left Real Madrid and went to an Arsenal or a Liverpool or another big club, and he plays in his favoured position, he's not reliant on there's so many big boys already at the club, and he becomes like a main man. I think he bangs. But he's a weird one because I don't really see him doing much in a game at times, though.
But he's on the right side. He's not a right.
Yeah, maybe, but moments though. The gate he's always there for a goal. He turns up. He manages to get a goal. He's one of them type of players that will always be there, sort of thing. Yeah. And look, if he was the replacement, of course I'm going to take it, Rodrigo. I'd 100%. I'd be an idiot to say no. Anybody would be an idiot to say no to Rodrigo for a Diaz replacement if he was to get £75 million for him. But will Liverpool really go and pay? With getting Isak and Rodrigo? We will have to wait and see.
And another thing, yeah, someone just said now, make sure Zuma doesn't see a cat, Gene, yeah?
No, my cat's a little one, man. We only got her about 3 weeks. So, yeah, she's all right. She's all right.
We're moving to the point of, other players who have gone on, to other clubs and, transcending themselves, yeah? There's also a case where, do you remember Benzema before?
Yeah.
And Ronaldo? People were always linking Benzema to Arsenal and, to Man United. And his numbers weren't the greatest. He was always, making way for Bale and Ronnie to be the boys who shone through and whatnot. But now, after what happened was once they left and he became the main man, you've seen what he did. I won't be surprised in a couple of years where Vinicius all of a sudden takes the Saudi money and dips. All of a sudden say, Rodrigo, right, you're the main man now. And he does the same.
Yeah, look, I get the shout, and I understand why. If Diaz was to go, that he would probably be a player that everybody would want. And the chat are gonna probably not like this, right? And I know they're not, but I think we go for Anthony Gordon. I've said it for a while, and I'll say it again. I think Anthony Gordon bangs at Liverpool. I just think I think he's the one that we will probably go for. We went for him last summer. Yes, his numbers were not great. The season that's just gone. I know the chat are going to come for me. I'm
going to say something to you as well, Gene, yeah? We know Gordon signed a contract now. When we were linked to him last summer, the fee was looking at 100 mil then. Do you think they're going to want 100 mil now? He signed a contract. They're going to want 100 plus. They want to keep their star players. Hence why they've overpriced Isak, saying 150, 200. They're building something there, Gene. And I know they're struggling to attract players right now where teams are saying to them, 45 million ain't enough for Alanga. This ain't enough for Trafford. We want more for XYZ player. Yeah? João Pedro's, rejected them and gone to Chelsea. But once they start bringing a few players in and start building to what they've got and, people coming for their players and they overprice them and no one can get them, you're going to struggle, mate. And I'm telling you, Gordon,
I don't think the fees. I think Gordon isn't stupid, and I think Gordon when he signed, I think Gordon put something in that contract before he signed, because he's not one thing with Anthony Gordon. And if you look at his contracts previously, other clubs and stuff, he's pretty clever how he's maneuvered his way through his career so far, and where he is at right now. And I think there will definitely be a clause. What's wrong with this cat today, man? She do
Probably
my
heard
head in.
I probably heard about Kurt Zuma and he wants to smoke.
Yeah, and look, I think Gordon will have definitely put something in that in that contract if there was a move, especially to Liverpool. But look, I've always been a Gordon fan. I was a massive fan of him at the start of last season. I thought, you know what, this guy was ready made. If the times that I've seen him, look, he goes, the cat disagrees. But yeah, look, I have a feeling it'll be Gordon, but we'll have to wait and see. But you know what? Obviously, the talk today and the show today is about a player, and Liverpool have got eyes on a player called Mohamed Kudus.
I
He's a
remember.
player that I've loved, that I've liked.
Well, I'm a big fan of his, Gene.
Well, you're not a fan of his.
You're not a fan of his.
I was the first time I saw him play live.
Against
I
Ajax.
ain't lying. At Ajax, at Anfield, I was in the Cup that day, and I remember he scored an unbelievable goal, and he was a flipping live wire. And I thought, you know what, this guy. At that time, I thought this guy's going to the top. Like, he's gonna make it, sort of thing. And then, you saw him. We were linked to him, and then he went to West Ham. And the first season I saw him play, I thought, you know what, he's shown. It was just like a first season, 6-7 goals, had spurts, good. You could see that this guy's got talent. This season, though, it was his season to break through. And if I'm honest with you, his numbers are absolute shite.
Yeah, but
There's no sugarcoating that, because
you got to take it into consideration as well. They had Lopetegui as a manager. That guy is horrible as a manager.
Yeah, he's shit.
You look at his stint at Wolves, he is horrendous, yeah? Then he changed halfway through and Graham Potter come in and he was playing a bit of a different role. Against Arsenal, he played that false 9 role. He looked good. His numbers weren't there, but you could see he still got it about him. I watched him against Chelsea. You see it in spurts. He's got something about him. But he's surrounded by a team that's all over the place. I know West Ham's team on paper doesn't look that bad, but the way they've been managed is rubbish. And if you put him in a better team, I think his output improves drastically. And for 60 million, Gene, I take him, I think that's good value. If it was 85 million, I agree with it. Too much for what his output is. For 60 million, he's 24. I think he's 24 still.
Yeah, I think now 24, yeah.
He can play the number 10 role. He can play on the right wing. He can also do a shift on the left where he used to do for Ajax. And he can play a false 9. He could possibly play that facilitator role sometimes as well. I take him. The versatility and what the quality he has. He's strong, he's quick on the ball. And a slot likes his players to turn quick, and he's got it all. And
it's fun because I watched him against the games you mentioned, the Arsenal game and them games, and I thought he was fantastic. And I understand that tactically, obviously, West Ham is set up completely differently, and probably not to his strengths, and not exactly the most attacking team, and it probably doesn't suit his strength. And he's the way he moves the team forward, 20 yards off the pitch within an instance. And I love the way he plays, and I know that there's a baller in there. I know you can see, but when I look at his numbers, man, they're actually quite scary for a player that you think, has can do it. And people have mentioned, and this is my biggest issue with Anthony, and I'm glad that Cash has mentioned it.
Bowen has
no issues, and he's the same type of player. You can't, and I know he's probably Bowen's played a lot further forward over the last year. Yeah, he's probably been more of their 9. But Bowen flipping scores left, right, and centre for him.
I think if Bowen was, Avi said it before, and I agree with him. If Bowen was 24, 25, the big club.
Oh yeah, he was. Klopp loved him. Yeah, he was that year where he was supposed to sell out. Mate, there was noise that he might not sign the contract. Yeah. There was noise that Bowen was going to be his replacement. Klopp wanted Bowen, and he really liked him, but obviously Salah stayed, and obviously he wasn't going to move to become an understudy. But when I look at Mohamed Kudus, I like him. Would I want him? Yes, of course I'd want him. But there's a question mark.
Yeah, but Gene, like for example, we had for the journalist a few murmurings where they keep mentioning we want a centre back, we want a forward, and then we want another forward who's versatile. Would you not take us as that versatile forward? And Ghana haven't qualified for the AFCON as well, that we know. So obviously when Salah goes, you've got Kudus coming in, and that's not that much of a downgrade if you ask me. I know it's compared to Salah.
No, look,
it's still a very quality player to have right there.
Oh, look, if you said to me we're signing Kudus right now, I wanted if his numbers improved and he was a Salah replacement, I will take that.
Mm.
I'm not going to sit here and think it was just, I genuinely felt this was his year to really kick on at West Ham. He didn't. And that's the only thing that sort of scares me. That, you know what? His numbers, he didn't really do it. He was, he was slightly inconsistent in his play. Yes, there was times where he played well, but he was pretty inconsistent this season. And but then I think, you know what? A consistent Kudus is probably worth 100 million.
Yeah, he is. And Rakeen Dama, sorry if I butchered your name there. I sound like Asim today the way I'm pronouncing names. Yeah, I'll take Kudus if Jota goes. Say Jota does go. Kudus, like I said, is very versatile. He can play all them roles. He's a good little player to have because we know Nunes is gonna go, Chiesa is gonna go. We're gonna be light, in the forward area. And from what we've seen, Liverpool apparently like having 6 forwards or at least 5 forwards, because we want to go find all the competitions. So, like I said, as a versatile forward, very happy. But if you said to me it's like he was some form of Diaz replacement, I'd say, come on, you've been silly. We need a right footer there. And we
Yeah.
quality there.
No, I get the Kudus shouts. I like him. I would take him at Liverpool if Liverpool went in for him. I know there was even murmurings with Malik Fafana, but obviously he's going to. Well, it looks like he's going to be going to Nottingham Forest. So, but if Kudus is a player that Liverpool want, of course you take him, man. You're not going to say no to a player like him, especially if he's around the 60 million pound mark. Then for me it makes complete sense. And yeah, he can be. You bring him in now, a couple of years under Salah's belt. He has the quality to be the Salah replacement. Can he give the numbers? Obviously not Salah numbers, but decent numbers for a player that can play in that position. We'll have to wait and see. No,
You know,
he's rejected
yeah, I was going
Nottingham
to say
Forest.
to you before you were
All
saying,
right.
apparently he's waiting for a Champions League club. So he's not said yeah because Bayern, Liverpool, all these top teams' names have been mentioned. Smash activity, yes. Now, and
Yeah,
all
Asim goes.
names have been
Gone.
mentioned. They think that he's waiting for the Champions League club.
Yeah,
Tell us,
no, which is fair. To be fair, I think he deserves a Champions League. For now, a couple of times I've seen him play. I think he probably needs a player a team that's going to probably take him to the next level in terms. I mean, he needs to be playing in the Champions League from what I've seen, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But of course, he was a player that Liverpool did like. We saw news coming out that we were sort of monitoring monitoring him over the summer. But I think a lot of other teams will probably go for him because he's probably not going to get first team football at Liverpool. But with Kudus, Dame Shah goes, Chelsea will get Kudus. We've seen obviously the
do they want?
concrete links. Hmm?
How many do they
Oh,
want?
they're on a rampage, man. Honestly, I look at Chelsea and think, bro, this is a joke.
Yeah,
Every summer they go and do this, but the thing with Chelsea is they get decent fees for their youngsters and players like that. So they do pretty well, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see
the
with
funny
the
thing is Chelsea are not that far off when you think about it. They've got a lot of youth talent there, good potential. They just need to be added to their spine, as in a good keeper like a Mainan who's at age of where he's won. He's won the league with Milan. They need to add a centre back with experience who can maybe look after Colwell. Maybe the midfield for me is good enough. I think personally.
yeah.
So
Yeah, they
and
are. They are.
then they need potentially a number 9. If they have that spine, their team drastically changes. Like how when we got Ali, Fab, and then we had obviously we had Salah up top. Our spine and Van Dijk, sorry, as well. Then spine signings they make a big difference. And Chelsea
It's
aren't far
very.
off, but they're run by clowns. And long may it continue.
They're not that far off, but finding a spine
It's
is
hard.
one of the hardest things in
If
football,
they
mate.
spend money, Gene, they should be going for them players, but they're not. That's what I don't understand. Why would he be splashing 60 million Yao Pedro, who's only scored like 5 open play goals? I just don't get it. And he's not a bad player either, but it makes no sense. You signed Delap, he's the one I look at and think, you know what, that's not a bad signing. He scored quite a few goals for Ipswich, 30 million, low cost, and if he turns out to be a success, fair enough.
That's a decent sign. I think that for Chelsea makes it's a signing that makes sense. You're protecting yourself in terms of future, and
Yeah,
even if you were to sell him in a year or two time, I think you still get decent money for him. So
of
yeah, look, Magnon's a good Magnon. I like him. Yeah, I think he'd be a good signing. That would be a good signing. Pedro, look, again, I'm with you. I don't know why they signed him.
it makes no sense.
Um, it makes no sense at all. I know they are losing a few wingers. Madueke looks like he might be going to Arsenal. There's a few that are leaving. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. The next player then, Castello Lukeba. There was reports that there's a few clubs monitoring Castello Lukeba, and Liverpool are one of the clubs that are in for Castello Lukeba. I really like him. Your thought? Number one, let's get your thoughts.
My thoughts on this player is very similar to Gay, similar in height, similar in the fact that they're not got great aerial aerial win percentage either. Great on the ball, and you know, like Gay's a duel winner. He loves his duels on the ground.
Yeah.
Lukeba's a bit different. I'd say he's like, you know, when Van Dijk's there and he's waiting, he's anticipating. Lukeba's one of the players. But we need to meet our homegrown quota. So we need to be looking more at Gay, if you ask me.
I think it's going to be, it might be two.
If you get two, then I'm happy because Lukeba has he has a high ceiling. He's only 21. I think he turns 22 in December. He's got a high ceiling. But my little caveat, just to play a bit of devil's advocate with you, Gene, you know, Red Bull. I'm not a big fan of signing players from Red Bull because I feel like they're either injury prone or they don't really live up to the expectation. And Nkunku, when he was at Red Bull, everyone was like, wow.
But his injury, though, you have to give him a bit. Injury did here.
Later was another one. He came here.
Injury prone again. You're right. They're not fucking injured.
Yeah, they keep getting. Szoboszlai is the only one who doesn't get injured. But for me, when we signed Szoboszlai, I might sound like I'm being a bit of a critic now. When we signed Szoboszlai, I thought we've got a number 10 who's going to.
Kanate.
Yeah, Kanate. Sorry, I forgot about him. It's a recurring theme here, Gene. I don't know if you realised.
Yeah, they're fucking injured.
Szoboszlai is that anomaly. But Szoboszlai, for me, quality player. But for what I expected of him, maybe I've got high expectations. I expected way more goals and assists, and someone who was technically better than what he is. He's a great runner. You know, he does a great job for the team. You know, you've seen him live. I've seen you many times rave about how much running he does on the pitch and how much he helps the right back and, you know, helps cover Salah as well. But for that fee we paid, I was expecting a 10-goal guy and maybe, you know, maybe a couple of assists, like 8-9 assists at least. These numbers for me, they don't back that. But I don't want to shop at Red Bull team for that reason. One of the main reasons being these. Maybe I'm just being suspicious or something. I don't know.
No, look, I get it. But I think, you know, my biggest issue, and I think a few players have mentioned it, people have mentioned it in the chat, is not the tallest.
Yeah, 6'4".
Gay is not the tallest.
Same height as Gay.
For me, that's not. And I know people will say, "Oh, you don't really need to be tall." There's other teams that don't, you know, have tall players. You look at PSG; they don't really have the tallest of centre backs. But I think you need to have one at least. Especially that gives you that.
In Arsenal, you need some height.
Yeah, man, you need it, and you definitely need some sort of players that at least have a little bit of height, at least one. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Lukeba, because Lukeba, you know, people were mentioning he's got a really, really high release clause of around 85 to 90 million quid. But I think he'll obviously go.
Accept lower. They're willing. They're willing to accept lower. So even though his release clause is 85 million. He hasn't really excelled at that point when they first put that release clause when he was linked to us and Madrid. So they're willing. I think they're willing to accept like 60, 70 million. But even then,
they're not going to get. Then I think they know they're not going to get 90. So I think that sort of price in regards to about 70 million pound probably makes the deal happen. But he's a player that I like. He's a player that I think Asim really likes. He's good. He's strong. He's got all the ability, and he's got an unbelievable ceiling. And if he is the one that Liverpool have earmarked to come in, then look, I'm all for it. Imagine a Lukeba and Gay as your two centre backs that come in this season. I'd be over the moon. Yes, height is an issue, but still, I would be over the moon with them. With them two players if they came in. But I agree, Nathan. Don't think we get Lukeba and Gay. I think Gay's a practically very, very close. As he wants us, we want him.
What do you think we meet for him price wise? Where do you think we meet Palace? They asked for about 60 million from what I'm reading.
They're pissed if they think they're getting 60 million for him. Nobody's paying that money. No one's even going to dare pay that money to him. And I think the only sort of fee that they'll get from us maximum is 50 million.
I think we might potentially about 45. That'd be a good deal. Even 50.
Yeah, look, 45 plus 5, you know, something like that. I'd be happy with. Look, if he's a player that Liverpool want, you know, 24, leader, captain, English, you know, ready to come in and play, you know, Prem proven, all that type of stuff. 45, 50 million is the standard, rate that you're gonna have to pay this day for a player like that. He's actually worth, I think they rejected 60 million pounds for him in only January and of last 18 months ago. There was, so he's a player that's worth quite a bit as well, and I think Liverpool will definitely get a deal for Mark Gay over the line, but it will take a bit of time because I think there will be negotiation tactics where Liverpool will want to play, and Parish is a pain in the ass to deal with.
I,
He's going to want his money, and I think he'll have a bit of a gentleman agreement with the player, but saying, "Look, I'm going to try and get whatever I can, as much as I can for you." So yeah, and I think there is a sell-on clause as well to
yeah, because of Chelsea.
uh, Chelsea. Yeah, there's a sell-on clause, so they don't want to. They need to make a little bit out of that as well. So do you think Mark Gay will be in a Liverpool shirt?
Yeah, most
Yes or
definitely.
no?
We need to
Yeah,
be on one quarter. I think we get him. I think about
yeah,
45 will we get him. And you know what? As a third choice centre back, someone who will rotate with Kanate is fantastic. Great on the ball and comfortable with both feet. That's very good as well. I'm more than happy. And he's a captain and a leader. Another one we add to our dressing room, as we've
yeah.
already quite a lot of them already in our dressing room. So I'll be over the moon with that signing. I think a lot of rival fans as well. They'll be looking at that and thinking, "Wow."
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So in terms of fee, people have mentioned Al Faki goes 50 million, Hussein goes 40 plus add-ons, Rumi goes 40 plus, is it? Yeah, Rooney goes 40 plus add-ons. Slot goes 38 million. We get him. Oof, I don't think we pay game for 38 million. No chance. I think they're flipping gonna try and take as much hours as possible. Get him on a free. Malcolm goes. Malcolm, do you want to wait another with it? Wait a year. Can't wait every year, man. Especially if we want to go for players, and especially if we want to go on all fronts. Sironi James 40 million. H goes 40 is what we would want. Crystal Palace rejected 70 million for him. TS goes, yeah, that's what I was talking about. They rejected 70 million. So if we're getting a player that Spurs rejected 70 million and we're getting for around 40 million quid, it's a no-brainer and it's a bargain. And I'll tell you one thing, I think Gay is going to be if we get him, and I'm confident he will, he is going to be a fantastic signing for us. He is going to be a number. I've just get some players you look at and you think, you know what, this guy's going to make it.
He's a
He's got
whole.
all the attributes.
I like his personality. He comes across a very.
Yeah, he does. And I think that's what you need. We always talk about the dickhead test at Liverpool. He passes that dickhead test with flying colours. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Mark Gay. Look, there's somebody messaged me today earlier wanting to know about what's the latest with Darwin and Nunes. Darwin Nunes, it looks like we're on a bit of a standoff, Akiman.
Yeah,
Napoli, there's a certain fee Napoli want to pay. They don't want to go high. Liverpool are demanding, a lot of money for him, and I have no issues with that. I'm happy that they are, and I think they're doing the same with Luis Diaz. I think Liverpool, what they're doing with Diaz and Nunes is they genuinely want them to go to Saudi.
yeah.
Because obviously they're going to get the money for them. Whereas the players probably want to stay in Europe, but Liverpool want them to go to Saudi, and Liverpool are waiting for the bids to come in, so then they can earmark that number and go to their players and say, listen, we're getting offered 75 million for you from Al Nasser or Al Hilal or whoever they are. Go and tell your European clubs wherever you want to go that this is the fee that Liverpool are going to get. If they're willing to match the fee or maybe £5 million less, we're happy to let you go. But if you think you're going to get a discount of 20 million to 25 million, but Lija, mate, we ain't giving you no discount like that. But if you really want to go, that's going to be the benchmark. And I think we will wait for the Saudi bids.
They'll come
And
later
then we will,
because Saudis
you
normally
know,
later on in the window.
they do. But, there's a comment that, what, I just read here now. Somebody mentioned that I should have started, man. It mentioned that the Saudi window is actually opening tomorrow. Is it tomorrow or next few
All right.
days? Whereas before it was supposed to open the 20th of July. So it's actually opening a bit earlier. That's actually good news because hopefully we can, if there are players that Liverpool want to offload, then there are players that we can get through out of the door quicker than having to wait until then. So I think it will be interesting to see what happens with that. Oh shit. Sorry, man. I think you can
Well,
remove the message. I had Asim's message for ages. I forgot to remove it. Yeah. So yeah, I think Darwin Nunes again. He's a player that will leave the football club. We will just have to wait and see what happens with him. What fee What fee do you accept for
Gene,
Darwin Núñez?
Think of this guy, you know, honestly, I'm not lying to you. If you offer me 2 fillet meals from Shakespeare, I would have said, get rid of him. Yeah, I would have drove him to Italy myself. Like, you know, this guy's frustrating, and I'm one of them guys that kept saying to people, you know, after his first season, he bangs in his second season. Don't worry about it. Then after the second season, I was thinking, oh, what am I meant to say now? And then I thought, third season, new manager. Surely this manager will, you know, cater to him. He didn't bang again. I thought, oh my word. And then don't get me wrong, I'm happy for the goals at Brentford. He scored a beautiful goal against Bournemouth at home as well. But too many.
Yeah,
The chance against Villa, you know, and you know when he stepped for that penalty against PSG, I thought,
he just
why?
knew in it.
Why have they let this guy out? All guys, I turned around to my wife and I said, I'll put my house on it. This guy misses the penalty. She said, what are you saying? I'm like, trust me, he's not scoring. Like, this guy's one of them confidence players. Like, he reminds me of Lukaku. He needs a different environment, and it can't be an elite club. It has to be someone who's a decent sized club, but it can't be an elite club. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes Napoli and he does bang. That's fine. I won't look at it and think, oh, wow.
Oh yeah,
I don't care. I'm happy with that. But I think fee-wise, on a realistic note, Gene, if we get about 40 plus, honestly, I swear I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm happy with that, whether it's 42 million or whatever it is. And I don't think Napoli will pay over 45. So if we get 50 or anything like that, it's like Eid for me, mate. I'll tell you that.
again, people saying 45, 50 million minimum, 40, 55 plus add-ons. I think 50 million is what is the bare minimum, if you ask me. Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me, Gene?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. I think your thing is jammed. I don't know if it's my internet or you.
It's not you, it's me. It's me, man.
I can hear you. You just froze. If that makes sense.
You stay, don't go. You stay, don't go.
Don't worry.
What the hell's happened here?
Looks like I'm alone now. Let's have a look at the comments. I've seen someone say before they take 5 camels for Darwin Núñez. I agree with you. I'd take 2. Never mind 5. Oh, and De Laurentiis is a very tough negotiator. It won't be easy getting money off him, I'll tell you that now. And Gene better hurry, because I think my laptop's about to die as well. So I'll be 1 second, lads. I'm just going to grab my charger as well. It'll be 1 second. Right, sorry lads. Show's back. I do apologise. I just needed to get my charger as well. Looks like Gene can't afford his Wi-Fi bills, and I'm a bit of an idiot when it comes to charging my laptop. I should have had it charged before I came on. Oh, no, it's not the Etihad, Ethan. We've still got more fans in here than that. But can you lads hear me, yeah? No, logs, you're not alone. We are with you. Thank you very much for your kind words. Trying to wing this show by myself right now. God knows what Gene's doing. But any questions, lads, fire away. I'll try and do my best to answer them. How stupid can the club be to pay more than 40 million for Núñez? We must have been really thick, because we paid 60-something million with about add-ons going up to about 80, which was fantastic from us, wasn't it? Oh, why the PSG jersey? Oh, I got it gifted, you know. You want to try and guess what I've got on the back of it? I'll give you a 5 if you guess what I've got on the back of it. Would you be happy or upset with Ekitike? I'd be upset, not going to lie. First, at the beginning of the window, Erling Hakaku, I would have been over the moon with Ekitike. As in, I would have been satisfied. But as them Isak links came, trust me, my tone changed. Yeah, Ethan, yeah, is Mbappe. Blooming, and I am passing you lot a 5. I didn't think you'd get it that easily. Núñez in more than 50. No, let's get down. Yeah, the problem is you are going to struggle to get a big fee for Nunes because he has been diabolical, and that's not going to be very easy. But like I said, I'll be happy with 40 million. I think the last we heard from, I think it was Fabrizio, they were looking about 37 million at getting him. Napoli won't want to pay big bucks. None of these Serie A clubs like to pay big bucks. And can you hear me, Damien Ward? Do you mean we can hear you or we can't hear you? And in regards to someone said here, any news on our set piece coach getting a work permit? I'm not going to lie to you, Ashley. I'd have a clue. And someone said Ozyman before. Trust me, mate. It wouldn't just be me that'll be over the moon with Ozyman. Gene would absolutely love it as well. He's a fantastic player. His output is what we need. And can you imagine Wirtz and Salah feeding Ozyman? And as well as Kirkes and Frimpong, who have a very good cross on him, crossing it to that absolute unit, he'll be scoring goals for fun. But I don't think he passes the dickhead test, unfortunately. So I can't see us getting him. And apparently he's wanting ridiculous wages. I think more than 300k. We just about, I think, gave Wirtz about 200k. So I can't see that, unfortunately. And oh yeah, and someone said about AFCON as well. Yeah, you wouldn't want to lose your right wing and your striker. That would be diabolical. Someone said, Sheshko, Rakina, you a secret Arsenal fan or something? Sheshko. Oh, Asim, Assalamu alaikum.
Anjay, what's happening?
You probably thought this guy's struggling right now. Let me save him. Thank you very much.
No, I was having my tea. I was actually watching the show. I thought I was actually enjoying the show. I was enjoying my evening off, but Gene rang me. He goes, I froze, jump in. Aki's alone. I go, what the hell happened? He goes, no, you just jump in. I'll call you back. But yeah, man, I thought.
Oh, my laptop was just about to die. I thought, oh, you can't be doing this, going on BNR and, we can't pay Wi-Fi bills, we can't charge laptops, we got no electricity.
What happened to Gene anyway?
He froze, you could hear him, but he froze. You probably seen his Buta froze and thought, I don't want to look at this anymore. So
I was enjoying, Lint. I don't know if you've seen them on like.
I know
Lint, yeah, the brand. They do like some hazelnut and chocolate, those little square cubes.
All right.
Oh my God, they are amazing. They are amazing. Next time you go to Asda or anywhere, get some. There's, those little. I think they're around about $4.99, and you only get you only get about 10 in there.
Oh, I know you're about. I've had them from Asda. They're expensive, but they're nice.
They are. Oh, Danny goes, his diet going well. You know what? I had a double session today. I went in the morning and then I played badminton for 2 hours. I deserve that, man. I deserve that.
Credit to your nephew Hassan as well. He's also been very dedicated to the gym.
I know. He's been sending me some pictures.
Yeah, he's
ripped up really well.
Losing weight, mashallah, very well. He's doing well. You need to take some inspiration from him, Asim, and maybe lay off the lid.
The thing is, he's 18, 19? My metabolism is like sky at the moment. But that's the one. The wafers. SF is right.
Oh, the wafers. Oh, I've not had them.
You not had them?
No. I told you one about the little blocks you can get as well. But you're on about the wafers. I've not had them.
Yeah, they're like big square block wafers. They are unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I need to give it a go.
Luke says, how do you keep yourself motivated, Asim? I'm not motivated until I've got like a target. So I've got my nephew's wedding, Luke, in August. So I've got about 7 weeks to lose about a stone, and that's been kind. But let's see how close we get.
I'll send some Ozempic your way, Manjaro. Don't worry, Asim. You lose more than a stone.
Sometimes the amount of people that ask me about that on a daily basis, you'll be the same.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like give myself a bit of a boost, but no, man, it's always natural with me. What were you talking about? Diaz?
Do you know it switched the conversation funny? Oh, I give up. Assalamu
Here we are. I can't even have an evening off. I can't even have a day off.
You're not gonna believe what the issue was, Asim.
You can't.
I'm gonna tell no, not my car. My chargers. The Apple charger is one of them big ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I've got that here, and I've got my normal mobile phone charger. I don't know. My kids must have been messing about. Yeah, they mixed it up. So my Apple charger was on, and it's saying it's charging, but it's on the small adapter. Yeah, and the other big adapter is on the other one. So I'm thinking it's charging. Just because I changed the wires, it's working perfectly fine now.
Wow. I've got something weird. I'm on a desktop, yeah. Every 5-6 days, when I come into this room and to turn it on, my desktop doesn't turn on. So guess what I have to do? I have to. There's one socket and there's two plugs, one for the monitor and one for maybe the keyboard or whatever it is. And all I have to do is just swap them, and it comes on.
Shut the hell up.
I'm not lying to you. Every 5-6 days.
You know, there's probably some.
The first time it happened, I'm there. Why the fuck's not going on? And we were going live. Literally, you know, you were live. You and Avi were waiting for me. And remember, sometimes I tell you, oh, I can't get in. That's what the problem is. Well, now I worked it out. All I have to do is just swap the plugs, and it comes on. So God knows, man. It's but as long as it comes on, yeah, maybe it's a low voltage. I don't know what it is, man. I'm a bit.
Tech nerds will be laughing at us. They're gonna be like, check these absolute idiots out. What are they playing at?
Channel run karsan.
Get search.
No, look, it was an excuse. You know, he was bored anyway. He was watching the show. I got him out of bed. I got him changed. I got him onto a show.
No,
What more do you want from me,
honestly,
man?
I came back from badminton. I had something to eat, and then I just put the kettle on because I saw, you know, when you randomly go in a drawer and you see like a nice thing you can't resist. Probably the kids left it during the evening. When they come down in the morning, daddy's taking it, man. It's not there in the morning, but I was talking about that Frere. No, it was it.
Is it Lind or Frere?
Oh, it's a Frere Rocher.
I knew it. Lind or do wafers. I would have had it.
Yeah, my bad. No, is it Lint? No, I'm sure it's Lint.
You need to take a picture and send me Asim because I need to try this.
Let me Google this, man. This is going to be doing my head.
Listen, I need to ask you one question. Is it better than what Chin's Dubai chocolate?
Yeah, it is. Look, is this?
Oh.
You can't see this, can you?
No,
we can't. Turn that brightness down. Bloody hell.
No, it's the screen. It's a screen.
You WhatsApp me. Don't worry about it.
That.
Oh, hide it. Tell them how many likes we got. Tell them to hit a certain amount of likes and we'll expose this chocolate.
That's the one. Oh, these are unbelievable. Can you see it?
And hazelnut milk, chocolate and hazelnut from Lint. Hello. Yeah, I'll have to check it out, mate. I'll have to check it out. Allah, now that you're not, I might as well get
SF knows, man. SF knows. Lint milk chocolate. I told you it's Lint. Anyway, can I go now?
No, you can't. We have to stay now. We're going to go now. Gapshap lad, Gapshap lad, it's fine. It. I got you on now. What are you going to do? You might as well have a quick 10-minute Gapshap.
Is it still Diaz?
No, we moved on from Diaz. We want your views on Costello Lukeba. Let's get Asim's views on Lukeba. I know you spoke about it a few weeks ago. I think about a week ago on Lukeba.
I think, lads, the priority is Margehi. Margehi is the priority. I think we need some English home quarter talent coming into the squad, and I think he's the right age. But I was thinking about it earlier. Like, he is in his last year of his contract. He's got, I think, a few reports were coming out like last couple of days that the personal terms are agreed and stuff like that, which I have no doubt. Liverpool don't need to convince anyone to come to Liverpool. If you're Florian Wirtz and you come into Liverpool, with all due respect, who the hell is Mark Gahey? And I don't think the minutes will be an issue as well, because he knows the question mark against Ibu Konate's form and contract situation, and he will have to improve himself. And the mistake I think we make, and when I was thinking about this earlier, is we always think Liverpool have to convince Gahey. Mark Gahey is at Crystal Palace, with all due respect. He's bloody coming to Liverpool. So he will have to go on his side of things, saying, this is what I'm going to provide to Liverpool as well. Yes, it's a World Cup year, but you're coming to Liverpool. It's not just one-way traffic that we need to convince you. I think we don't need to convince you. So he needs to make that jump. If he really wants to become an established Champions League defender, then you have to bring something to the table on negotiation table as well. You need to convince Liverpool, saying, why am I the right man for this team? So it's a two-way relationship. But I think if he comes, I think Liverpool will be really the beneficiaries of his versatility. I heard you guys talk about it. I don't want to ramble on about how comfortable he is on both sides in central defense, and this is one of the reasons why we really liked Dean Huijsen. Dean Huijsen could play that versatile role in both positions. Well, I think Gahey is arguably, well, not arguably, it's a fact. he's more versatile than Dean Huijsen, because
Yeah.
Dean Huijsen, for me, I don't think can do a job in a starting position at right back, left back. Gahey has got the mobility and the ball manipulation that he can do a job. So that's why I was making the comparison last night, that he's more of a Joe Gomez. Reminds me of a Joe Gomez, but I think Joe Gomez was quicker when all those days before his knee injuries. So, but when it comes to that second centre back, Gene, I think Liverpool are open to another centre back coming, but it has to be the right opportunity, the right timing. And I think there's 3-4 people on that list. Lukeba is one of them. Jarell Hato is one of them. But with a few things, maybe at the top end of the pitch, there's a few moving parts, and that will depend on us bringing that second centre back in. Maybe Shimikas leaving the club. Maybe getting an offer for Joe Gomez. You never know, because there are a few question marks, whether it's form or contract situation, whether it's the Saudi interest coming in for someone like Diaz. Liverpool will get, some random offers, whether it's for Diaz or even, for the likes of Joe Gomez, even though it looks like Joe Gomez is going to stay. So it'll be an interesting summer. But I think Liverpool are really, really stringent this year, where they've made this plan since March or even well before. And they've identified the areas, got the players, and now are waiting to do some sales and then to go again. But just to summarize your question, I think that second centre back is a real possibility, but it's not a guarantee.
Yeah, because to be fair, Asim, you've been pushing for a second centre back more than any of us, especially on this channel, saying that, you know what, there's more chance that Liverpool will bring in two centre backs over who I wanted a midfielder. You said no, I think it's going to be another centre back. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, especially with the centre back issue. But look, a lot of people are speaking about, mentioning Alexander Isak. We might as well speak about Alexander Isak before we go. I'll come to you, Aki, first. Obviously, not in terms of what we're hearing from there. There was reports a couple of days ago that, you know what, he probably wants to leave. He's shown his hand to Newcastle regarding, his time. My time's up there, sort of thing. I'm still, and then the Newcastle fans are coming out saying no, he hasn't really come out. There was an article today. I think it was the same guy that reported it about a week ago, that the Newcastle are still relaxed about Alexander Isak. Where do you see Alexander? Where do you see all this? How do you see this playing out, especially over the next 2 weeks in regards to Isak? And I've always maintained that he has to make the move. Do you think Alexander Isak has already made his first step towards leaving Newcastle?
Well, the murmurings that have been coming out that you've been speaking about sound like he's saying no to their contract, but it also sounds like maybe Newcastle are saying, okay, that's fine, but give us 1 year in the Champions League. We want to show and prove to you that we want to win the big trophies and that we want to, excel from where we are now and become a guaranteed top 4 club, and then push on and be, hopefully for them, they want to possibly, dream and win the league. I see two scenarios. I see either, I don't see him sign a contract, by the way. I don't think he signs a contract.
I don't.
I think either he pushes and forces a hand because he only wants us, and we see late in the window, maybe near the end of July, maybe even the start of August. I think the window closes in September, doesn't it? September 1st.
1st of September, yeah.
You see some murmurings now that Isak's saying, he wants to leave, or he's not signing a contract and he wants Liverpool, yeah? And Liverpool come in with the bid. They're probably going to lowball first because they're not going to say, here, take 150 million. They might try and see what Newcastle's figure is. Yeah, I'm gay. And what's it called? The bid 120, and then also some Newcastle say 140 or 150 with me at 140. Or this is my other. I said this last time I was on the show as well. He doesn't sign the contract, but Newcastle say to him, next year when Barcelona come, because they are going to need a 9, we won't fetch as much money for you. Maybe it might only be 100 mil because you'll have a less year left in your contract, but we'll let you go to Barca. He might turn around and think, you know what, Cholo, I'll go Barca. Because Barca are going to need a forward. But I still think, I've got this weird feeling. I had it, Jake's been saying it for ages. I think we're going to get him, And I can just see the chaos and the meltdown from rival fans when they look and they see Wirtz, they see Salah, then they see Isak and they think, oh, give them the title already. They're just going to be praying that you know, do a treble or a quadruple. They're going to be thinking, no way. So they're the only two outcomes for me. For me, the likely situation is that it rambles on later on, and we see later on in the window like a proper transfer saga. You know, like Andy Carroll when it happened right at the end, someone like that. You see some proper roller. You know, we're used to getting our signings in earlier. We're going to see some pure roller.
I know we've never had like a deadline day huge signing coming in. Like obviously we've had a few leave, obviously with Torres left and a few others.
The last day, didn't they?
Sorry?
Didn't Carroll come in last day? I know it's not as good.
Yeah, but that was because of Torres is leaving, innit? You know, that was our, you know, we had to bloody one of the worst signings in the history. Newcastle were doing bloody cartwheels to the bank when they saw £35 million come through from Liverpool to sign Andy Carroll at that time. But look, going back to Isak, Asim, what's your hunch regarding Alexander Isak? I'm not asking you for any Isak feelings or anything like that. Just your honest and your own opinion as to what's going on and where you see this, how you see this playing out.
My own opinion, Sheen, is Liverpool will test the waters. I'm quietly confident. Now, does that mean Liverpool will get Alexander Isak this summer? I don't know.
Well, we will only test the waters if the player's giving us the go-ahead, correct?
Of course.
We're not going to just go and decide to put in 100 with 20, 30 million pounds. But are we?
Of course.
Yeah.
I think
so. If the
go on.
So if the player's giving us the go-ahead and we're ready to go in and bid for Alexander Isak, can Newcastle say no?
They have not got a player. I was talking about this during the day. They've tried for Elanga, they've tried for Mbeumo, they tried for Trafford, and they can't get
Javi Simons,
João Pedro. So they can't get a deal over the line. And I can guarantee, well, I'm not guarantee you, but it's, again, my opinion. I think before the season ended or during the last month or so, not Liverpool, Newcastle, Eddie Howe, his staff, the management, the owners, the hierarchy will have had some conversations with Alexander Isak. He is at that age now where the big clubs, this is the critical summer, Gene, where he knows Liverpool are looking for a number 9, Arsenal are looking for a number 9. And such are the stakes, Gene, that can they afford? Liverpool probably can afford because we were so much better than everybody else. Can Arsenal afford to wait another year, for Alexander Isak? I don't think they can because they are craving for a number 9 and they don't have a Salah and they don't have a Diaz and a Gakpo on the left-hand side who are combining around about 30 goals per season. So there's over-reliance, and then they have a number 10 who can't create and get enough goals compared to his, the season before that he had, where he got around about 10 goals and 10 assists. So there's a lot of pressure, and the manager's under a lot of pressure. What phase is Mikel Arteta in the 7th or 8th phase? So our lad, the ball fella came in, won the league, and now he's bought time. If he doesn't win anything for the next 2-3 years, it's fine as long as he keeps getting top 4. But that's not going to happen. We're going to go and get those big trophies again. And I agree with what Aki was saying earlier. But going back to Alexander Isak, can they afford to? In terms of the players, I think we have got a nod, and this is pure opinion, that from the player side, we have got encouragement, more than encouragement. But I think he is a respectable guy. He's got 3 years left. He's not an idiot. Can he really force a move? It all depends on their PSR issues, and there's a lot of speculation that they can't get deals off the line because they want to bring 2-3 players to really make a statement and convince players and there's some speculation about Tonali as well, that Tonali might be, looking at a move away, even though he's only had about a couple of seasons, and I think he spent a year at home as well for all the obvious reasons. So, but he's a good player, Bruno Guimaraes. This is a project that has got the richest owners in the world, or one of the richest owners in the world, but for one reason or another, the league has made it a bit harder to spend your money, and it takes a bit of time. It takes 2-3 years in the Champions League, but can they guarantee Champions League football, year in, year out? I don't think so. So they are at crossroads now, Gene, where they will have to make a decision that this 70, 80, 90 million pounds that we've got is it going to be enough to strike these deals? And I keep on repeating the same thing, where you're going to be quoting around about 150 to 200 million pounds for your star player, and expect when you're going for other players like João Pedro, Andy Langer, the same thing's going to happen to you, where the likes of Nottingham Forest, the likes of Brighton are going to say, we're going to overprice our star as well, because he's a Premier League proven player. You say you've got the money, so then pull out the money. And they've lost out on 3-4 deals. And the ticking time bomb is Alexander Isak is sat wherever he's sat in a nice posh restaurant on a nice fancy beach, thinking about who he's going to be playing for next season. And he's going to think, am I going to be playing with the same players again? Where Liverpool are buying Frimpong and buying Kirkes and buying the best number 10 in the world. I know where he wants to be, but will Newcastle blink and be forced and be in a situation where they have to recoup around 150 million pounds, put in another 70, 80 million pounds, and then go again? It's a fascinating situation, and we'll be talking about it on a daily basis.
Exciting.
Okay. Question to you both. Will Isak be wearing the red of Liverpool on the 1st of September?
Oh, shut up. Time for me to go now.
Shut the fuck up. Shut up and give me the answer. My job is to answer questions, answer your questions. I'm
Okay,
bloody
then
answering a
after that
minute.
monologue.
Idiot. Yeah, just give me the straight up answer. I don't like this monologue.
This
Give me
is
yes
not
or no,
based
man.
on any information. I think Isak will be playing for Liverpool next season.
And in regards to me, I said before, I have that weird feeling. And the one thing I didn't mention is we're very used to, if there's a player we're going for, our journalists shut it down straight away. You know, if
That's
there's
true.
no way. This one is weird where the Joyce's and the PSCs are not saying nothing. So you know something's going on here. You full whack no. So I'm going to say yes as well.
Oh.
Really want it up.
Oh, there we are. I told you, it's all your fault now. That'll be all over Twitter now.
No, look, you made it crystal clear that it's you just on. Listen, my job is to get it out of you, man. I did, so I'm happy, man. My job is to do what I need to do. But look, now Alexander Isak will be wearing the red of Liverpool at the 1st of September, and I am confident that Liverpool will get you over the line and one more player. That's why I've maintained that we will bring in at least 3 to 4 players before this transfer window finishes. You know what, Asim? I think that's it. I think we've gone 110. Apologies with what happened earlier regarding the bloody, not the Wi-Fi. It was my actual laptop, the charger, and go on, Chris. And it ain't Wharton. Ali Faki, don't say it ain't Wharton. Don't say that. No comment, but don't say that yet. But you know what? 365 in the house. Make sure you've liked and subscribed to the channel. Do become an ultra, a BNR ultra. We've got a load of content coming your way. There's a WhatsApp group, and boy, it's really. I'm not as active, but I've been told it's an unbelievable group. We have a good laugh on there, and there's a load of content coming your way. But our plan in the next month is to get to doing at least 3 shows a day. We're trying to go, one better every month, so we're not far away. We're getting there. Do smash the like button, do subscribe to the channel, and we will catch you tomorrow on the daily transfer show. I will be on it, and tomorrow night it's me, Chip, and Asim tomorrow, and then I will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Take care. And
that
how
Dame
to join group chat.
the group chat.
Dame Shah, just send Asim a message on Twitter, and Asim will add you if you are already a YouTube if you're a member of the ultras. But I think what was it, £4.99 a month it is.
What's £4.99 these days, lads? It doesn't even get you a burger. Surely you can give you can get you a burger.
Why can't some people from abroad, this brother Liridon Silaj, big up, he's always supporting the channel. Why can't people become a member from abroad?
I honestly don't know. Liridon. I don't know why you can't. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is what it is. I honestly don't know, Sim.
God knows. Chalo. You need to check your account.
I don't know.
Could be
No.
Google Play Store is saying Yusuf. for the
Restrict Joseph goes restricted. It might be restricted in certain certain countries. Then
Some countries block subs according to slot effect.
it's about billings. I don't know. Liridon. So if you can't, there's nothing we can do about that one, mate. But yeah, I will see you all tomorrow at 1:30. 1 o'clock. Sorry. Take care and goodbye.